ponga muy cerca de los días, siempre está medio de la película. Adelante. Bam! My peoples. My peoples. Welcome to another episode of Boxing for Breakfast, where you get your healthy dosage of sweet science early in the morning. We talking boxing, my peoples. Y'all know what we do. Hey, y'all know how we do it. And Look, man, we're gonna start this thing off swinging right away. Subriel Matias tested positive for the banned substance OSTERINE. That's a problem. That is a problem. He has a fight lined up to defend his title versus Dalton Smith. I think that saying this fight is in jeopardy is almost an understatement at this point. They've only tested the A sample, and I know that Subriel has, I don't know if it's 10 days, 20, 30, I don't know, but he has a certain amount of time that he can request for the sample B to be tested or accept the results. But that's a real bad look. When you have a guy who's known for his power, what does Subriel have a 100% knockout percentage? Let me get his record. You guys know that I always fact check myself. I don't want to say things that are not accurate, right? So, Subriel Matias has 23 wins, and 22 of those are by knockout. And something to also point out that in 2019, he faced an opponent who died after the fight from a sustained beating that he took. So when an opponent of yours died and you knock out almost everybody you face, and then you test positive for OSTERINE, those wins go into question. And he just came off a beating Alberto Puello in a close fight that some people felt like Puello won, some people saw Subriel's way. It could have gone either way, I guess, but that's a problem. And that's the thing about testing positive, that it takes a long time for you to prove yourself, for you to redeem yourself. That cloud is hanging over you. Now you gotta not give a positive test for years before people can actually move on from this. And now those wins go into question. So let's see how this whole situation is gonna develop. But it's a real bad look when you're a knockout artist, because you can describe Subriel Matias like that. You knock people out, stopping everybody, and then you test positive for OSTERINE. Come on now. Round one sports talk. No, 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 bro. Talk about it. I mean, look, I I was mentioning how Subriel Matias in 2019 he had an opponent that died after the fight. So when you have an opponent who passed away from fighting you, and you knocked out all but one of your opponents that he beat. Obviously, he didn't knock people out that he lost to. But Subriel's record right now, his wins, is 23 wins, and 22 of those are by knockout. He's a knockout artist. So if you're a knockout artist and you test positive, it's going to put everything into cloud, into judgment. Because now it's like, okay, if he's doing OSTERINE, what exactly, or how many times, or for how many times has he used it? That's gonna go into question. Round one sports talk. Can you drop the link? You know how. No, so let me show you. When I start the live is when I have to select the option to drop the link. So I didn't have that option available. That wasn't selected. So I can't drop a link. You have to select it ahead of it. So that's why. But I will be live again later and the link will be available. Mm. But tell me, what do you think about this whole situation with Subriel having an adverse finding? Sample A was tested, and let me tell you something. So far, so far, I have never ever seen a sample A test positive, and then they went to the sample B, and that one tested negative. I've never seen that once. I don't know if it's ever happened, because in theory, it can happen. For example, they use a tainted, one of the tubes that they put the sample in, it was already tainted, and that's why it tested positive. They go to sample B, that one comes out negative. In theory, it can happen. But what people have to understand is that sample A and sample B is basically the same sample split into two. So if the sample is urine, you urinate once, and then that urine goes into two separate containers. And that's sample A and sample B. That way, if this was tainted, this will come out clean. But so far, I've never seen a sample A test positive and then the sample B came back negative. I've never seen that. Sai, salute, my brother. Bam. Round one sports talk. I have a lot to say about it. Listen, man, this whole situation is crazy. It's unfortunate. I don't think that fight's gonna happen. I don't think Dalton Smith, he has a real good team behind him, a real good promoter behind him. They're not gonna allow that kid to get in there with somebody who just popped dirty. Hell no. That fight's not happening. Plus, if it's the case and Subriel Matias is on that, they gotta strip him. Strip him of that title, which he potentially cheated over Alberto Puello. Strip him and allow Puello and Dalton Smith to fight for it. That's the fair thing to do. Sorry, they say Dalton is fighting Alberto Puello now. I haven't seen that anywhere, but I hope that's the case. That's who deserves it. Alberto Puello deserves a shot at his title. Because a lot of people, you guys know, a lot of people felt like he beat Subriel. And that was his title that he lost in that fight. So yeah, give him a shot. And let's see how this whole situation is going to play out with Subriel Matias. Because like I told you, how long has he been on that? That's going to be a question, a legitimate question to ask. This is what show you that I'm non-biased. Remember when I was covering the whole Tank Davis situation when what happened? People was like, nah, I'm hating on Tank Davis, right? Now, this whole situation happened with Subriel Matias. They're going to say that I'm hating on Subriel. Danny Guns, good morning. What's on the plate? Yo, Subriel Matias tested positive for OSTERINE. His fight with Dalton Smith, I haven't seen anything official, but I think that fight is not happening. Like I said before, Dalton Smith, young fighter, has a great team around him. They're not going to allow that kid to step in the ring with a guy who just popped 30. No way. But it's like I told you, I want you to remember this. In 2019, Subriel Matias faced an opponent who ended up dying after the fight. Beat the shit out of him. That's the only way to describe it. Beat the shit out of him. So, you basically kill somebody in the ring, and now you test positive. That's problematic, my peoples. Very. Bang Bang Boogie. No, Bang Boogie Boxing. To answer your question, Munguia tested positive for the A sample and the B sample came back negative. Did it come back negative? Did it actually come back negative? Round 1 Sports Talk. Yes, sir. Bad, bad. Come on now. If it is, and I don't think they could prove, I don't think we've ever seen that where they prove how long somebody been doing it. Can't really prove it. We just know he tested positive now. And he has some time to request for the B sample. But I was not aware, Bang Boogie Boxing, that his B sample came back negative. I did hear that he was, absolved from it. But good for him. Good for him. For sure. If that was a mistake and he's clean, you know that him being under Eddie Reynoso and everything that has happened in that team puts a cloud on it. It makes you wonder. It seems like people get on this shit, and more people, and I know that it is like that, more people that we think be on that shit, and they just do a great job cycling in and out until they don't, until they get popped. So right now, I don't know for a fact if Subriel Matias is guilty, but the fact that his A sample tested positive is tough. It's tough, especially, like I said, when you look at the fact that Subriel is a guy who's a power puncher who knocked out 22 out of the 3 opponents he faced, who literally killed the guy in the ring in 2019, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Bang Boogie Boxing. Didn't Puello get busted? Honestly, I don't remember. Let's see. Let's see. Positive steroid. I can't answer that off the top of my head. Also, Alberto Puello in 2023 tested positive for clomiphene in an out-of-competition drug test. This incident led to a 6-month. So he tested positive in the past. Now Subriel tested positive. So I think that this is, and it's hard for me to say that, man, but I think this is a bigger problem than a lot of us know. And it's just that some people are better than others at getting away with shit. And it's unfortunate to say that, but people keep getting popped. So it makes you wonder who is, When you see these explosive knockouts, who is, doing it clean? And who's using a little help? Makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Appreciate it, Si. So, we're going to see if Alberto Puello gets the nod for this fight. What's going to happen with Subriel Matias, because it's going to be a tough road back for him. A tough road back after this situation. You just won a title and boom, pop dirty. Going to be a tough situation. Let's see. Man, listen. I don't want to criticize, because I know it's like, damn, you criticizing somebody, but you don't know who else. But still, man, still, just do boxing. Salute, my brother. Bam. How can you, justify or support something like that? Somebody popping dirty, and you know that they're knockout artists. They known for knocking everybody out. Only one opponent out of the ones that Subriel beat went the distance. One. Everybody else got knocked out. So it makes you wonder, for how many of those fights was he on that? So I remember when Ryan tested positive for OSTERINE, and they said it doesn't even help with boxing. It's never justifiable in a sport where people die more than in any other sport. That's a fact. People don't understand that. In boxing, they die more than in every other combat sport. More than in MMA, more than in bare knuckle, more than in all those sports. It's boxing where people get killed. So, Subriel Matias literally killed the fighter in 2019. So when you think about that, and now he tests positive for OSTERINE, it makes you wonder. Like, wait a minute. Was this his natural power that caused another man to die after the fight? Or was there something behind that? Was there something more to it? I don't know, man. I don't know. But listen to this so you understand. Subriel Matias' opponent, Maxim Dadashev, died from injuries sustained during their fight on July 2019. Dadashev, an undefeated Russian boxer at the time, suffered a brain injury after the technical knockout and passed away a few days later, undergoing emergency surgery. The fight was between Subriel Matias and Maxim Dadashev, was an IBF junior welterweight title eliminator. Dadashev corner stopped the fight after he took many heavy blows. The injury. After the bout, Dadashev collapsed, was taken to a hospital, and underwent emergency brain surgery. What was the outcome? Dadashev died from his injuries on July 2019, just a few days after the fight. The event prompted discussions about the dangers of boxing and an investigation by Russian Boxing Federation to determine if any rules were violated. So back then, it was just this guy's a devastating power puncher. And RIP to Dadashev. Bang Boogie Boxing, it's all speculation. No proof of him ever being a cheat. No, and look, I gotta rock with you on that. There is no proof. Right? But, although I'm rocking with you on that, because you're right. You You can't dispute that. But you have to understand, Bang Boogie. Subriel Matias knocked out. What's that percentage? 91% knockout ratio. He has a 95.65 knockout percentage. That's higher than Tank Davis. Has a higher knockout percentage than Tank Davis. So when you have someone like that and he tests positive, and he kills somebody in the ring, it's gonna make you question it. It's gonna make you wonder. So it is speculation, but you have something that is leading to that speculation. Side, a positive test is proof, bro. I mean, I think what Bang Boogie is saying is that the positive test is proving what he did now, but it doesn't really prove how long he's been doing it or how long ago he did it. David Battlegun, salute my G. Bam. What's the news on Subriel? He tested positive, bro, for OSTERINE. And it looks like his fight with Dalton Smith is going to be off. That's it. That fight is going to be off because it's like I told you, Dalton Smith has a great team around him. They're not going to allow that kid to get in the ring with Subriel Matias after he just popped 30. I just don't see that happening. I don't see it happening, my people. So, right now, I think Subriel is going to end up with a suspension. If it's his first one, I think it'll be like a 6-month suspension or something like that. Synapse. Bro, I'm a wrestler in Dagestan. Salute, family. 310 Man Ruth. Grand Rising. TKO. David Balogun. Have to investigate everything for sure. And that has to get a lifetime ban, at least. Listen, if they can prove that he was on stuff back then, man, this is not just out of boxing, it's jail. But that's back in 2019. We're in 2025. I don't think they'll be able to prove anything that far back. Unless they got people that turn on him or something like that. David Balogun, what do we know about his testing history? Is this a surprise? Honestly, testing history, I don't have a lot of information. So it's hard for me to tell you about his testing history. You know, I want to see if they're going to request for the B sample to be tested, if they're going to follow up, or what are they going to say? Or if they're going to give us the good, or we don't know how it got in our system. Let's see what that direction they're going to go in. I think testing history is relevant, but ultimately, if he popped dirty, he's cooked, even if he has a squeaky clean history. David Balogun, his opponents used to quit on the stove back to back, so he may be cooked. Listen, man, he stopped a lot of people, beat a lot of people up. So, man, you do all that, and then you test positive, of course it's going to go into question. People are going to wonder, wait a minute. All these knockouts, all these brutal beatings, and now you pop dirty? It makes you feel like there's just fighters out there, you know, getting away with it, and eventually they get caught. That's what it seems like. But look, this fighter right here. Hold on, I don't wanna. Maxim Dadashev, may he rest in peace. In 2019, by the way, he was an undefeated fighter when he faced Subriel Matias back in 2019. And he died. Like, after the fight, first of all, his corner had to stop it because he was getting pummeled. And he collapsed shortly after the fight. They had to do an emergency surgery on his brain, and he died. Rest in peace, Dadashev. So again, it makes you wonder, this guy tests positive. knocked out most of his opponents, done literally killed somebody. He killed this guy. And you test positive, that's a problem. That's, people gonna think about that. They're gonna scrutinize that. And then there's gonna be the question, what should be the punishment? David Balogun, do you think he was genuinely feared by Haney and all them all the time? They made him out to be the worst thing that could happen. Do I think he was feared? Honestly, I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. And I'll tell you why. Look at when he lost to Josh Taylor. Josh Taylor handled him, made him look easy. So I know that his crushing power has been something that, has been a topic of conversation. But these guys, skills-wise, I would say they're all better than him. Devin Haney's better than him. Teofimo Lopez better than him. Shakur's better than him. So I don't think... Oh, no, my bad. It was Paro. It was Paro, my bad. It was Liam Paro, my bad. I said Josh Taylor. So I don't think any of these guys at the highest level was fearing him or anything like that. In fact, I feel like Teofimo Lopez didn't fight him because he was looking for better options. You have to understand that Subriel Matias, after he lost, you had me messed up. I confuse, for some weird reason, man, I confuse Josh Taylor and Liam Paro all the time. Sometimes I'm trying to talk about Paro and I mention Taylor. Sometimes I'm trying to talk about Taylor, I mention Paro. I don't understand why that happens, bro. But I think that Teofimo Lopez simply didn't fight him because he was looking for something bigger. You have to understand, after Subriel Matias lost to Paro in such convincing fashion, his stock dropped. His stock went down. Most of you cannot name the following two opponents that he faced after that. The two guys that he faced before Alberto Puello, most people never seen them fight, don't know who they are, don't know nothing about them. Average Joes. In small venues. And then he got that title shot versus Puello and won. But his stock was down. So while his stock was down, Teofimo was not trying to fight him. This guy right now is fighting in small venues. Nobody's talking about him. He's trying to fight stars. Look, Teofimo Lopez and Shakur Stevenson are going to be fighting next. That's a huge fight. Huge fight. January. It's going down. So I don't buy into he was feared. I think that's more the way they advertise him to make him a star. Subriel Matias is a talented fighter. We have to acknowledge that. He's a talented fighter. We're going to put that power into question now. What's going to happen going forward? Is he going to start going the distance in a bunch of fights? But my peoples, let me know what you guys think. Do you think Subriel Matias is innocent? Do you think he's guilty? Do you think the B sample is going to test negative and they're going to say, no, look, he's redeemed? How do you guys think this is going to play out? David Balogun, I knew it was Liam. Then Hitchens beat him after. And now I want Hitchens versus Russell. Ooh, listen, man. I want to see Richardson Hitchens versus Gary Antoine Russell badly. Or even either one of them versus Tank Davis. I'll take that. Tay John, Matias deserves a title shot against whoever he wants after this, just like Ryan. I mean, hey, everybody's entitled to their opinion. But if you're saying just like Ryan, Ryan served a suspension. If you're saying just like Ryan, then before that title shot, Matias has to serve a suspension just like Ryan did. I think you would agree with that, right, Tajon? David Balogun, I just heard about Chocolatito last night. Brother is crazy. How much the lower weight class GOAT don't get much love. I was watching Estrada versus Chocolatito 1. Oh my God. Let me find out. I can't believe you didn't know. Listen, there's an interview out there where Errol Spence says Chocolatito is his #1 pound for pound fighter in the world. Errol Spence, and I'm talking about not early coming up Errol Spence. I'm talking about world champion Errol Spence, saying that Chocolatito was his favorite fighter. So it's just that, he's in one of those lower weight classes that don't get as much attention. MS, crazy to me. Subriel was calling out T.O., Devin, calling them pussy. They pussy. Damn, no wonder he was calling them out like that. David Balogun, watching him, I saw Gervonta immediately, patiently letting you work, then cooking your ass. Yo, he can fight. Daniel Negron, is Matias in trouble for steroids? He tested positive for OSTERINE. So we're going to see how it plays out. It looks like his upcoming fight is not going to happen. Probably going to face a suspension. Let's see where they go from there. Sorry. Ryan had like a 30-day suspension. WBC slap on the wrist. Nah, it wasn't 30 days. That shit was like 6 months or a year. Or that shit was way longer. Remember, he just got reinstated. He literally just got reinstated by the WBC before fighting. Or you know what? I'm saying that off the top of my head. But it wasn't 30 days. It could not have been on 30 days. Size, Subriel Matias getting like 3 years minimum. Damn. I mean, I don't know. If Subriel never tested positive, I don't think he's going to get that long. If he never tested positive, I think it's like 6. I think our first suspension is like 6 months. David Balogun, I just turned 23, brother. On the 14th. Oh, the young gun. The young gun. Tajon, yes, I agree. David Balogun makes me appreciate Bam versus Estrada way more. Man, look, you have a reason to not know him. I get that more. But Chocolatito, bro, special. He's special. David Balogun, I didn't know what Estrada did to get to the top. I just watched Bam beat him up. But I got to do my studying on anything below 130 pounds, man. There's been a lot of special fighters below 130. They just don't get that shine. Donald Berry, good morning, bro. I don't think Errol looks the same after that accident. Errol looks the same after the accident. I think you mean he don't look the same after that Bud Crawford ass whooping. But I digress. Look, with this whole situation, Subriel Matias testing positive is going to put a lot of those wins into questions. A lot of those, explosive knockouts into questions. Look at, this fight from 2019 where he literally killed the opponent. Like, he pummeled him so badly that his own corner had to stop the fight. The guy collapses moments after the fight and dies afterwards. Dies afterwards in the hospital. So when you literally kill somebody in the ring and then test positive for steroids, that's a problem. That's a problem, and it's going to be put into question. And people are going to bring it up in different conversations. And even when they're reviewing this case, as far as the punishment goes, they're going to look at those factors. Like, damn, you out here knocking everybody out. Killed the nigga in 2019. And now you on that thing? Mm, how are we going to punish that? So, again, all the facts are not out. We don't know if they tested the B sample yet, or Subriel's team is going to request for the B sample to be tested. So, I guess right now, we got to give him the benefit of the doubt until we find out what's going to happen. If his team is going to take the route that they don't know how that got in his body, then that's it. To me, he's guilty. He's guilty. For him to get out of this one, you got to have the B sample get tested. It tested negative. They come to the conclusion that whatever they had the A sample in was tainted. Okay, perfect. You got it. But right now, it's not looking good. If his B sample was to test negative, it's like getting from under a bus. Getting out from under. But honestly, somebody mentioned Munguia, and I didn't even know that. I know that he was supposedly, absolved from wrongdoing. Let me see that. Let me look into that myself. Jaime Munguia B sample test negative? Let me see that, my people. I gotta see it myself. So, let me tell you something, my people, because somebody earlier said Jaime Munguia B sample tested negative, but I don't see that anywhere. They say he's being cleared somehow, but it doesn't really. I don't see anywhere that the B sample. In fact, I see that the B sample turned an adverse finding too, and what they're saying it was a false positive. Yeah, bro. Who was it? Somebody in here said that Munguia. Who was it, man? Let me backtrack. Who said that Munguia tested negative? Wasn't it you, David Balogun? Side, WBC is lenient on Mexican fighters when it comes to PEDs. But you have to talk with facts to say that. Because look, that's why I say, Side, don't get yourself in trouble with just opinion. Watch this. Let me show you something. I'm going to tell you the actual length of the suspension. Bro, Ryan Garcia's suspension was for 1 year. His suspension was for a year. So that year was imposed by the Athletic Commission. You see, so, and the WBC recently reinstated him. They even suspended him for making racist comments. For making racist comments, he got suspended by the WBC. So you got to have data to be able to back that up, that leniency that you're talking about. Sorry, they let Jaime Munguia test positive and kept his fight as a W. They've done it to a lot of people, though. How about this one? Alicia Baumgartner tested positive after beating world champion Christina Leonardatu. Remember, Christina Leonardatu is the first and I think the only person to beat Alicia Baumgartner. Alicia Baumgartner beat her in the rematch, took her title, and then tested positive. She got suspended for that positive test. She kept all of her titles. Decision wasn't overturned. Nothing happened. And Alicia Baumgartner is not Mexican. See, so sometimes it's not, you place it somewhere, but sometimes it's not really where you're placing it. There's a system in place. You're placing that system on the WBC, but then I ask you, why did Alicia Baumgartner keep all her titles after popping dirty? And look what was, let me give you the, basically the summary of Alicia Baumgartner's case. She tested positive. They never, said that it was anything wrong with the test or that it was a false positive. No, she tested positive, but she don't know how it got in her system. That's it. Since she don't know how it got in her system, she got a suspension and that's it. Keep all your titles and keep it moving. And she not Mexican. So in some cases, you see fighters test positive, get stripped, and the win that they just got get overturned. In some cases, like look at Ryan Garcia, Devin Haney. The decision was overturned. Devin Haney lost that fight. He lost. He got beat up. But the decision was overturned over Ryan Garcia's positive test. Well, what happened with Christina Leonardatu when she lost to Alicia Baumgartner, who tested positive? She didn't get her titles back. She didn't get nothing back. She just had to keep that loss. And that's it. So, you placing it on the WBC, but then who are you going to place it on? But I'm asking you, who are you going to place it on when it was Alicia Baumgartner who benefited from keeping all her titles? Who you got for that one side? So, you're saying I'm not lying. Nobody's saying that you're lying, bro. I'm just telling you that you're pointing out an issue and you're focusing on the WBC because you don't like them. But I'm telling you, who are you pointing at when Alicia Baumgartner, an African American fighter, is the one that benefited? Who are you pointing at? And she didn't have just the WBC title. She had the IBF. She had the WBO. She had the WBA. What happened with those? You see? So you notice how you have a lot to express about the WBC. But when a fighter pop dirty and the other sanctioning bodies don't do absolutely nothing, you don't say anything. You don't give them that same energy side. That's how you know you're being biased. Because you're looking to focus on these people and ignore the other people that do the same shit. Tejan, Mauricio Sulaiman is biased. Again, Tejan, is there anybody that you can point at and say they're not biased? Then I could just find you a fight or a fighter or a title shot to show you that they're all biased. If we nitpick information, they're all biased, my brother. Who is it? Tell me who is it so I can show you wrong right now. Who do you think is not biased? And I'll show you wrong right now. Corey B, using PEDs in boxing is wrong. Of course. Listen, my take, this is my personal take. You use PEDs in boxing, you got to be banned from the sport. If you pop dirty and that is confirmed, not like we think, it's confirmed that you dirty, my opinion, banned for life. Banned for life. That's it. You done. You cook. You out of here. Or first pop dirty test, 3 years out of boxing. First one, 3 years. Second one, banned for life. It has to be extreme to the point where people say, damn, I don't want to risk it, man. it's my whole career down the drain when I get caught. Cause that's the thing. If you pop 30 and you suspended for 6 months, big deal. Let me do this thing, cause it might give me a title shot. I might make millions of dollars. If I pop 30, a little 6 months, whatever, I can handle that. It has to be more severe. You out of boxing forever. And watch how people gonna have to think about it a lot more. Side, Alicia is one of the biggest commodities in women's boxing because she kind of pretty. They have leniency towards her too. People have favorites, and that's just how it is. But that's what I'm trying to show you. That it's not the WBC. It's everybody. It's everywhere. All the sanctioning. Let me give you an example so you can see what I mean, sir. Look at how they stripped Terrence Crawford of his title. Watch this. They stripped Terrence Crawford of his title mad quick. And there's people who had that same title for a year, inactive, and they never stripped it. But to this guy, it was like, nah, we're going to have to strip you. You're not going to do this? Oh, let me get that. Let me get that. So you see that all sanctioning bodies do it. They'll have a guy who can hold on to the title, not defend it, fight whoever he wants. And then they have another guy who missed one title defense. You stripped. You cooked. We're going to have to take that from you. And we're going to have to give this person a title shot. He deserves it. So that's the problem, side. That it's not just one sanctioning body picking and choosing. They all do that shit. That's the reality. Side, yeah, they did it with Errol. The IBF let him hold that title forever. And Charlo too. Remember Mo Charlo? Mo Charlo was inactive for mad long. Not defending, not fighting anybody. Over a year. Chilling. This my shit right here. And there's people out there that they win a title and they stripped of that shit within like 6 months because they didn't fight this person. Quick. 4 months. Now we need that back from you. That's not for you, buddy. That's all the sanctioning bodies. Side, I promise you, you can find examples of fighters receiving preferential treatment from all the sanctioning bodies. So you can put the focus on Sulaiman and be like, oh, yeah, the WBC, they this, they that. What happened is, bro, that Sulaiman is simply the most famous of the sanctioning body presidents. As a matter of fact, most of us, if we don't Google it, we can't even name the presidents of the other sanctioning bodies. So I bet you have to Google it. Everybody in here, the presidents of the other sanctioning bodies, you got to Google it. Right now, there's a bunch of you like, real quick, and then putting it up. Like, I didn't Google it. I know it by heart. Look how much time it took. If anybody would have known those names by heart, they would have been there. Bang, quick. Side, Paco Bacarcel for the WBO. That's all I know now. That's the only one you had enough time to Google. You ain't know that shit. You didn't know that shit. Cap. I call Cap. That's why you can only bring one name. This is the only name I know. Cap, bro. I did, bro. Nah, I still call Cap. 100%. But it's like I said. Even if you say you did, which I call Cap, but even if you say you did, how many people actually know that name? How many people actually ever heard that name in their life? Come on, Tajon. I put Daryl Peoples in the chat if you scroll up. Nah, listen. I believe you. If you say I know this guy, I know that guy, but come on, who knows those names? You guys know that nobody knows those names. So Mauricio Sulaiman, being the most famous of the sanctioning body presidents, he's the one that's gonna get the most heat. He's the one that fans are gonna focus on. Like, oh, it's Mauricio Sulaiman. And we don't even know the other guys' names. Yeah, we don't even know them. We don't know how they look. You gotta go. Look, most of them, I guarantee you, I show a picture and nobody know who that is. Don't even know how they look. I guarantee you, I show a picture of Paco Barcasel and people don't know who that is. If I just show a picture like that, people won't know. Libre, hey brother, good morning. How you feel about Joshua versus Jake? I got Anthony Joshua putting Jake Paul to sleep. Brutally. Brutally. Because you see how people saying that Jake Paul even has a chance and all of that crazy stuff? I promise you, Anthony Joshua's approach to this situation is going to be like, oh, this YouTuber think that he could beat me. He really believed that. I'm going to have to show him a lesson. You see what he did to Francis Ngannou? He was on some, this guy's coming from MMA, and he think he could mess with me? Pulverized him. Brutally. And guess what? Anthony Joshua is wealthy. This guy doesn't have to work a day in his life. And he'll never run out of money. His kids, his grandkids will never run out of money. Generational wealth. So he don't need to take a dive. Like some people suggested that. He don't need to take a dive for a check. He don't need that. He's going to go out there to knock Jake Paul out brutally. And that's what we're going to see. And by the way, I'm going to give Jake Paul his flowers. Because I'm going to say, you know what? Whether or not he get knocked out in the first or second round, he still had the balls to get in there with a two-time heavyweight champion of the world. So salute to Jake Paul. Going to sleep, but damn. Damn. In a blaze of glory for sure. Daniel Negron, you're very knowledgeable in boxing. Appreciate it, my brother. MZ3, do you think Bakram Mortasaliev is elite, or will he get cooked by Boots or Virgil or Fundora? Listen, Bakram Mortasaliev is without a shred of doubt amongst the elite. Yes, sir. Notice how he's a world champion in the division and you don't see nobody calling his name. You don't see nobody eager to fight him. Think about that. Do you see people like, yo, I want to fight Bakram. I want to... Not seeing it, bro. This guy is definitely a problem for anybody and everybody. I'm telling you. People don't want to see him. It looks like a lot of people don't want nothing to do with Bakram Mortasaliev. And by the way, Virgil is ducking Boots. Don't let nobody tell you otherwise. Virgil Ortiz is ducking Jerome Boots Ennis. And that bothers me. They've been capping all this time about they wanted that smoke. It bothers me. But again, shot cool hands. Salute, family. Bam. But again, my peoples, we digress. Subriel Matias tested positive for OSTERINE. The reason I got this image in the background is because that's a fight from 2019 where Subriel literally killed a fighter. In 2019, he fought this, damn, I don't want to mispronounce his name. My peoples, can y'all put his name in the chat? I hate mispronouncing fighters' name. I do my best to, especially the young lion who, you know, passed away after his fight with Subriel Matias. Maxim Dadashev. So the fighter you see behind me is Maxim Dadashev, rest in peace, Russian fighter who faced Subriel Matias in 2019. Yo, he lost his life. Collapsed shortly after the fight, which, by the way, his corner had to stop because he was getting pummeled. Collapsed after the fight. Then he got rushed to the hospital for emergency brain surgery and passed away. Shortly after a fight with Subriel Matias. So when you kill somebody in the ring and you have knocked out the overwhelming majority of your opponents, a 95% knockout ratio, well, and then you test positive for OSTERINE, it makes you wonder. It makes you wonder. Side, Buddy McGirt was his trainer. Salute to Buddy McGirt. Bam. Come on now. Maxim Dadashev was a young, undefeated Russian fighter who was very talented, who had, a great future ahead of him in boxing. And his life got cut short in 2019. So this is something that can happen in boxing. When you sign that contract, you know this. I've signed the contract. I know this. But when I signed that contract, I'm under the assumption that I'm fighting somebody that's clean. You got to understand that. You guys know, most of you know that I have one professional fight, which I lost. So my record is literally 0-1. And I signed that contract, and there's a part there that stipulates that you can die in the ring. And your family, nobody's going to take any legal action should that happen. Because you understand it. When you sign that in your contract, you're under the assumption that the other fighter is signing it and he's clean just like you. That's the reality. So Dadashev signed that contract with Subriel Matias under the assumption that he's fighting a clean fighter. Now, was Subriel Matias, on it back then? We don't know. It can never really be proven. We can't prove it. So I would never put those allegations on him. But it makes me question it. When you kill somebody in the ring and then you test positive, make me question it. And I said before, my peoples, what I feel like should happen, obviously, Dalton Smith, young fighter, I know that his team would never, he has a great team behind him. I know that his team would never allow him to get in the ring with somebody who just popped 30. I know it. So, to me, the right thing to do in this case would be allow Dalton Smith and Alberto Puello to fight for that title. Because Alberto Puello lost that same title to Subriel Matias in their last fight, and that was a controversial outcome. There was controversy behind that win. So, we're going to see, my peoples, how this whole thing plays out with Subriel Matias and Alberto Puello and Dalton Smith, and is Alberto Puello going to be given the opportunity to step in for that title shot? Shot, cool hands. What the B sample? What was that, the B sample? No. So it looks like the B sample has not been tested yet. So I understand you saying, because could it be a mistake? So let me just say this. Shot, cool hands. It could be, you never know. Up until now, I've never seen a fighter have A sample test dirty and then the B sample test clean. I've never seen that. Earlier, somebody told me that Munguia, that his B sample tested negative, but that turned out to be false. I already reviewed it. His B sample did test positive too, but I guess they're trying to say it was a false positive or something like that. MZ3, I think he got on the OSTERINE after the Leon Paro loss in Puerto Rico to bounce back. He probably was dirty versus Alberto Puello. That's a possibility. That is a possibility. And you have to understand that we're making assumptions, it's speculations, but it's reasonable to speculate in that direction when we see that Subriel Matias is a fighter who has relied on his power throughout his career. He's somebody we recognize as a knockout artist. So if you're a knockout artist, you pop dirty, that's not a good look. It's going to put all them knockouts into question. Kalana. Ryan beats Barrios easily. I don't know. I don't think it's going to be easily. I don't know. That's a tough fight. I have not been able to make a prediction on that one. Tough fight. Shaquez, Puello suspended for something too. By some post I saw. Nah. So in the past, in 2023, he popped dirty. Back in 2023. Now, he's simply suspended because, you know, when you fight and you're like in a brutal fight, they suspend you for like 6 months. So he's serving one of those suspensions after his fight with Subriel Matias. Sai. Clomiphene, Puello tested for. Exactly. Daniel Negron. Honestly, I thought Matias lost with Puello, or at least a draw. Once he stepped up in competition, the KO stopped. So, I will say I personally had Alberto Puello winning that fight, but I also recognize that there was some swing rounds in there that could have went either way. So if you gave him to Subriel, there it goes, he has to fight. I had Alberto Puello winning it, but he's testing dirty right after that fight. So, do you want to assume that he was clean for that fight? I don't know. Sai, what do you think of Snack? A lot of people are suspicious of Snack fighters. So, for now, my stance on Snack is that they're a 100% clean and legitimate company. Why? I don't do conspiracies. I've never been into conspiracies because that's how you end up spreading fake news, spreading lies, spreading fake narratives. I don't let myself get sucked into that. Victor Conti is a guy who got busted by the FBI, served time in prison, came out, built his own company, and people really wanted to believe that he was doing the same thing that he was doing before. But I'm here to tell you, my brother, if you're someone who served federal time and you get out of the feds and you start doing the same thing that you got arrested for, I'm here to tell you, my guy, that you're not going to last very long before they bust you again. You have zero possibilities of distributing anything illegally, doing federal time for it, and then getting out to doing exactly the same thing under the federal microscope and not get caught. People watching too many movies. That's number one. People watching too many movies. Number two, most of that focus on Victor Conti is due to the hate on Terrence Crawford. Because you'll notice, for a while, nobody was even talking about him. Nobody was even posting about him. But the moment Terrence Crawford was going to fight Canelo Alvarez, we started seeing Victor Conti non-stop posts. Non-stop. And all of them were based on speculation and what people think. None of them with a single shred of factual evidence. So basically the logic is, well, this guy used to do it before, so he has to be doing it now. Like, that's the logic. We don't need no proof. We don't need no evidence of anything. He did it before. He got to be doing it again. So to me, Victor Conte is a guy who actually redeemed himself and never got the credit that he deserved because people just want to hate. People cannot celebrate success. This guy went from going to jail to creating his own company to working with some of the best fighters in the world to having a successful company. People can't buy that. People can't accept that. When you want to hate somebody, you try to put dirt on their success. So, you're not going to see me getting sucked into the fake narratives and getting sucked into the conspiracies. I'm going with the facts and everything I'm seeing. MZ3, what I think is suspicious is why it took so long to get the results for Subriel. For the right result, we knew right away. I mean, I don't know why you're saying that it took so long to get the result. I guess you mean for them to make it public or something. But they had the result whenever they had it. But, I don't even understand why you create a conspiracy, because that's really what you're doing. You're saying, well, I don't understand why for this person was fast and for this person it wasn't fast. What does it really matter? It could be something as simple as when we did that person, we tested 5 people, so we got to it quick. When we did this person, we tested 50 people, so it took longer. Like, it could really be a simple ass explanation. But when you say, well, I think it's suspicious that it took long for this and it didn't take long for that, you're really generating a conspiracy, because that really doesn't mean anything to me, the time that it took to reveal it. Libre, people pick and choose who to hate. The whole Robert Garcia gym, you snap. And they don't say nothing. And not only that, bro, Robert Garcia's team, that's the team that has the most people test positive that I ever heard of. I've never heard of a trainer or coach having that many people test positive. Ever. Yet, when it comes to Snack, there has never been a single shred of evidence that Snack provides or has ever been linked to steroids in any way, shape, or form. Ever. So, I'll tell you what I see in Snack. What I personally see in Snack is that Victor Conte went to jail for doing illegal designer steroids. I remember the Clear and the Cream, the Barry Bonds stuff. And after he came out of jail, he used his expertise to actually do legal supplements. And he was successful at it, because people are so crazy that they don't understand. This guy was really a chemist. This guy is really an educated person. Victor Conte is not just some guy from the streets. This guy's an educated person, bro. So he came out, used his expertise, came up with his own company, his own brand, made it successful. But people hate success. People hate a redemption story if it's a guy they don't like. So what people do? Oh, nah, he got to be doing something wrong. He got to be doing something. They got to be cheating. And that got even worse when Terrence Crawford started working with him, because they hate Terrence Crawford. So everybody that does not like Crawford will tell you that Snack is selling steroids like the average drug dealing spot. So is it really about the facts, or is it about they don't like Terrence Crawford and they don't like some of the fighters? Come on now. It's like I told you, my peoples, if you go to federal prison for committing a crime, you have zero possibility of getting out of the federal system and going back to committing the same crime. But this time you're gonna get away with it because you're doing it better now. That doesn't exist. If you think that exists, you're watching too many movies. You're watching too many Hollywood stuff. In real life, if you get arrested and you go back to doing the same thing, you're gonna get arrested again, quickly and swiftly. Victor Conte would have served the rest of his days in jail if he was actually doing steroid stuff with Snack. But if people want to believe whatever they want to believe, whatever makes the movie more interesting. If it makes it more interesting and it solidifies my hate for Terrence Crawford, I'm going to create this movie out of the thin air. Side, it all leads back to Crawford, the king of boxing, the face of boxing. That's why I said earlier, the moment Crawford started wearing snack, that's when they really went hard on Victor Conte. You don't see when he was going to fight Canelo, they was posting non-stop about Victor Conte. MC3, Benavidez is a snack fighter too. Kenny Doing, snack is legit steroids. There's no such thing as legit steroids. Libre, supposedly Crawford and Canelo are negotiating for the rematch. How do you feel about the rematch? I mean, look, the rematch is a very bad idea for Canelo Alvarez. Because the rematch is only going to solidify Crawford even more. And it's going to make it more obvious that he's just simply better than you. That first fight made it obvious. Crawford is better than you. The only reason for a rematch would be to get another huge check because you know you ain't going to win that fight. I don't think Canelo walked out of it feeling like he could win. So, I don't know. I don't see the point of a rematch. I'll tune in. We're all going to tune in. But I think we all know what's going to happen. The Hydro Grind. I find the Subriel situation kind of weird because the WBC had congratulated Subriel and Dalton Smith for both tested negative a few days ago. But you have to understand the Hydro Grind. You could test negative today, and guess what? Tomorrow we could test you and you pop dirty. That's one scenario. Another scenario, he popped dirty and the WBC had not been notified yet. So they think, yeah, we good. But the Hydro Grind, mostly you find it weird because you don't want to accept the results. That's why. You don't want to accept that Subriel Matias popped dirty. So you're like, I find it weird. Ain't nothing weird. He popped dirty. Side, Bam and Virgil and Benavidez on snack. I don't want to see the rematch. I mean, look, I'm not going to say I don't want to see the rematch because I know it'll be fun to watch. I just don't think Canelo needs it. Go in a different direction. Because you definitely don't want to get 2 losses in a row. Driz, Devin going to sleep on my death system. I'm sorry, my brother, but it's not going down like that. Devin Haney by unanimous decision. Shakur Hans Smith, you missed my comment about Nell too. Hold on, Shakur Hans. Damn, man, I think I'm going to need some glasses soon, my people. My vision is playing games. Shakur Hans Jace, I'm hearing they're setting up Bub versus Nello too. Yeah, I read that, my brother. And look, I don't see the point of making that fight. Honestly, I don't see the point. I think Terrence Crawford is going to dominate Canelo if they do a rematch, even worse. Possibly even knock him out. Possibly. Kenny Dawn, does snack give you enhanced performance? Does snack give you enhanced performance? Wouldn't you say that about every single supplement that people take? Wouldn't you say that about protein? Wouldn't you say that about whey protein? So, there's something as illegal and legal. The protein that you grab off the counter does that too. It enhances performance. That protein that you buy over the counter, it enhances your ability to heal from injury. It also enhances your ability to gain muscle. You get it off the counter. So you have to learn how to differentiate between what's legal and what's not. You said it was a legal steroid. No, it's not. Legal supplements. There you go. I fixed it for you. See? Legal supplements. That's what that's called. Side, Bo will go for the kill second time around. Or at least try to drop him. I think so. I think so. I think he's gonna go for it. Shakur Hands, say it, Jay. He's gonna beat him up. Beat him up. No need for Canelo to take that ass whooping. Al the Maker, say hi, salute. Shakur Hands. Yes, it does. Every supplement. Yes, it does. Every supplement. You say every supplement is a steroid, then everybody's on steroids, according to you. Creatine, too. Usually I see Canelo still being the A side in the rematch. That's gonna depend. If that's gonna depend on the rematch clause. You see, if there's a rematch clause, he's gonna be the A side, because the rematch clause is gonna dictate that. So that's what that hinges on. Side, caffeine boosts performance. I don't know. I guess he's gonna say that caffeine is a steroid too. They really just want to say Bud is a cheater or anything to not acknowledge greatness. Driz, Bud don't sell like Canelo. Facts. I mean, I don't know what you're talking about. Canelo's biggest fight ever was with Terrence Crawford. So you wanna bring up historical data? That's like me telling you, well, Jake Paul sell more than Canelo. What you got for that? Jake Paul sell more than Canelo. What you got for that? What do you have for that, Driz? Jake Paul sell more than Canelo and has been for the last couple of years. What do you got for that? You know what I got? You know what I could tell you about Bud don't sell like Canelo? Facts. That you gotta stop the pocket watching. Stop counting other people's money. Stop celebrating other people's money. That's mad corny. But Canelo's never gonna cut you a check. When they deposit those millions of dollars in Canelo's bank account, he's not gonna send you nothing. He's not gonna give you nothing. So you're talking about he sell more than Bud. But like, what are you talking about? You watch both of them when they fight. You spend the same amount of time watching their fights. And you spend more time talking about Crawford. You're a Crawford fan more than you're a Canelo fan, because you talk more about Crawford than you talk about Canelo. So, you know, you celebrate Canelo's money and celebrate what he sells, but that's just pocket watching stuff that makes you look goofy, and you don't even realize it. He makes more money. Like, come on, man. That's embarrassing. Y'all be embarrassing yourself, don't even know it. Shakur Hands, no, it's enhanced. I'm agreeing with you. But that's what I'm saying, that, you know, it's one thing you taking legal supplements, and it's another taking steroids. Because when you say the word steroids, then you already know it's illegal. So you're trying to say, oh no, it's legal steroids. No, it's not legal steroids. There's a such thing as supplements and such thing as steroids. Let's not blur the lines just because we hate Terrence Crawford and we want it to be badly steroids. No. Can't do that. William Allen, Bud is overrated. Okay. Take a 24-hour break. Clearly you don't know shit about boxing. Take a 24-hour break. Listen. Watch the people who know boxing, and you could come back tomorrow and say something that's not dumb. You sound dumb. Your first comment is to say that you sound dumb. That's my response to you, dummy. Shakur Hands, exactly. These guys delusional. Side, the mentality of a Crawford hater, it's a strange one. It's a strange, weird one, bro. Weird. Kenny Dunn, what's your final prediction on Haney Norman? I got Devin Haney winning by unanimous decision. It's going to be a very good fight. I know Brian Norman Jr. is a special fighter. I know that he has a shot of winning this fight, but I got Devin pulling it off. Side, all they mention is he don't sell, and he don't snack. Like, it's crazy because they don't realize it, that they go on every Facebook page, on every YouTube channel, repeating the same thing. So when you're sitting in this channel, for example, you hear 5 different guys bring up snack and 5 other different guys say that he don't sell. But they don't know that there was another 5 guys that did the same shit, and they say exactly the same thing. It's almost like, yo, Terrence Crawford haters, they might as well just create one big group so that they could just copy paste everything and share it with each other so they could go spread it around social media, because they literally all say the same thing over and over. Or not snack, he don't sell. Like, how many times can you repeat that? How often can you repeat that? This guy's this guy's wealthy, this guy's a millionaire, this guy's been making a shitload of money, and you work 9 to 5, making less than $50,000 a year, and you're talking about he don't make money like that. He's not making money like Canelo. He's not making money like... You know how dumb you sound when you're talking about a millionaire? Talking about how they don't make money like that? Come on, man. That's why we need to kick off the nightly show. We still not at 50 subscribers, my people, on Box Center 2.0, by the way. We got to kick that nightly show so we could really put it out there the way it really is. People just too dumb to really understand what's happening. They need me to explain it. Side, they repeating what they hear from hating channels. And that's true too. Because there's some YouTubers out there talking boxing that really don't know shit about boxing. And then some of them, they on this team side. So they great with this team, and they always trying to shit on that team over there. Narrative pushers. Sensei, and y'all talking about Bub moving down, move up and get manhandled by Benavidez. Why would he move up? Why would he move up to 175? Why would he do that? Terrence Crawford is 5'8". Why would he move up to 170? I want you to understand this, Sensei. You said that he was too small for Canelo Alvarez. You said that Canelo Alvarez was going to knock him out. Now you want him to move up to fight Benavidez, an even bigger guy? You a dummy. You a dummy. Take this little 30-minute timeout. I was going to give you 24 hours, but take 30 minutes. Take just 30 minutes and come back. But you a dummy. How you say he was too small for Canelo Alvarez, but now you're saying go fight at a bigger division, a bigger guy that Canelo Alvarez been ducking. You a dummy. That's just your reality. Shy Guy, Devin gonna pull a win. I feel it in my gut. Matter of fact, he might knock Brian out. So I'm not expecting a knockout, to be honest. But I got Devin Haney winning this fight by unanimous decision. The Hydro Grind, chill out. Chill out, bro. I got Devin, but never by KO. Hey, it's not like Devin never stopped nobody. Hold on now. MZ3, come on, my peoples. By the way, man, a lot of people ducking that like button, man. Hit that like button. It's just double tapping that screen, y'all. Tajon, you can see Canelo wants a rematch, Jay. What you think about that? Honestly, bro, I'm not sure that he really wants the rematch. I'm not sure. I find it hard to believe that he wants a rematch. I don't know if he wants it, he's gonna get it. If he wants the rematch, he's gonna get it. It's gonna be a nice bat for both of them. But do he believe that he could beat Crawford after the way he lost the first fight? I don't know. I don't know. Sai, I sense a 24-hour break coming up for Sensei. I'm trying to tell you, he got 30 minutes, but if he says something dumb again, it's 24 hours and then block. Dr. Grind, put him on timeout, Jay. Shy Guy. I don't know, bro. I know it's a little far-fetched, but Dev knocking him out. Ooh, you see? I'm going to be honest. You're the first person during this whole lead up to this fight that has predicted Devin's going to win by knockout. You're the first one. Kevin Carroll, yo, good morning, brother. Salute, family. Bam. Kenny Dong. Boots beat Virgil. Terrence beat Johnny Beck. Then link up at 160. That would be great. That would be great, but it's never going to happen. Number one, Virgil is going to duck Boots. That's number one. He's not going to fight Boots. Number two, Terrence Crawford is going to beat Johnny Beck and then go after Carlos Adames to go for undisputed at the 160 division. Number three, Jerome Boots Ennis is not going to move up to 160 without collecting those titles at 154. He's going to be there a long time. So Terrence Crawford and Jerome Boots Ennis will never fight in the same division, will never fight each other, and their path will never cross. So the more you hope for that fight, the more heartbroken you're going to be. There is no path to Terrence Crawford versus Jerome Boots Ennis. That ship sailed, and you got to let it go. Y'all got to let it go. I know people want Crawford to fight somebody they think is going to beat him. Look, they want him to fight Benavidez. They want him to fight Usyk, Bivol. They think Boots could beat him. He's not going to fight the people that are not at 160, that are not holding a title, that are not going to get him to that next undisputed crown. He's not going to fight those people. Don't waste your time with that. Don't miss your time with that. Shakur hands. Well, you removed the comment, bro. You removed it. The hydrogram. By the way, my people, the odds are still good if you want to put some money on Dev. Of course, he's the underdog. He's the underdog in this fight. Toby Odoy, Crawford ducking Morrell too. Crawford is ducking Morrell, a guy that's in a different weight class than he is. He's ducking Morrell, a guy coming off of, like, what are you talking about, bro? You sound weird. Like, you sound really weird. Like, why would Crawford want to fight Morrell, who's never held the world title? Like, you don't understand this, Toby. But when you hate a fighter, you come up with the dumbest logic. Crawford is trying to fight world champion Johnny Beck, world champion Carlos Adames, and you're saying that he's ducking Morrell, a guy who's never won a title. I don't know if you are dumb or if you sound dumb, but take this 24-hour break. Because whether you dumb or you sound dumb, but you saying some dumb shit, buddy. He ducking Morrell. You a dummy. These guys expose themselves. They don't know shit about boxing. The Soto hybrid. Toby, you sound like a clown. He a dummy. He a dummy. Dude said Crawford is ducking Morrell. Come on, man. My people, that's why we need Box Center 2.0 to get on and popping. Check out right there on the comments. Check it out, pinned on the comments. Subscribe to Box Center 2.0. I'm just waiting for us to get to 50 subscribers. Once we get to 50, that's when I'll be able to go live. And I promise you, there's going to be a hotline. People will be able to call in and say whatever they want to say. And I'm going to show you how to deal with those dummies when they call in. Because I know the dummies are going to be the ones calling in. I know you guys are going to call in and give some great opinions. And we got some elite level trash talkers up in here too. But I know the dummies think they're going to show out with a dummy logic. And you're going to see me cooking them. Them dummies are going to make this show a comedy show, a roast, and a cooking show all at once. Shakur hands 24, 24, 24. Listen. Let me go back, bam, to this post. What happens next for Subriel Matias? Is he going to have to serve a suspension? Is he going to be stripped? Where does he go next from here? So I think it's going to be a little bit of a tough road for him because you know the type of cloud that he's going to have over him. So it takes some time for this thing to kind of die off and people to leave it alone. It's going to take some time. When Subriel Matias' name come up, people are going to link it automatically to that positive test. Unless that B sample comes back negative. In my opinion, that's the only way he's going to get out from under the bus. B sample comes back negative. They put out a statement. It was a mistake. He's a clean fighter. Which is already going to have a cloud on it if that happens. But if they go the direction of, oh, we don't know how that got in our body. I don't know. What was that? Ain't nobody buying that. In 2025, nobody buying that. People going to be like, oh, yeah. He guilty. So let's see what's next. How is this whole situation going to play out? And by the way, yesterday, you guys know that I was talking about the face of boxing. And how you see that his career is developing. Well, supposedly they have an announcement to make for March. I had a couple of, not official sources, but I had a couple of people tell me that they're going to announce the first TBC promotion card for the month of March in Omaha, Nebraska. I don't know if that's accurate, but based on that, you know, what they're suggesting is that Terrence Crawford is going to launch his own promotional company, TBC Promotions, and that'll debut in March in his home state of Omaha, Nebraska. In his own state of Nebraska. So let's see. Shakur Hands, subscribe to Box Center 2.0. Listen, my peoples. Once I get to 50 subscribers the same day, I'm going to announce the name of the show and the date that the show is going to drop. Just waiting to get to 50. Haven't done it yet because I'm not able to go live until I get to 50 subscribers. Shakur Hands, Jay, in the comment you missed, I said, you know my writing style. Do you recognize who I am? My emojis never change. I don't. I don't. If you change your name, I don't. Have no idea. Kevin Carroll. Lock me in, sir. I stay loyal. Salute, Kevin. So, check this out, my people. Check this out. Look at the hate that Terrence Crawford is getting. And then look at his career, the way that it has played out. Undefeated fighter. Never been involved in no crazy controversy. You don't see Bud getting locked up. You don't see Bud in the streets. You don't see Bud hanging out in the hood, doing crazy stuff. None of that. A total professional, making a shitload of money. Been doing it for over 10 years, making millions of dollars. So this guy's wealthy. Terrence Crawford is wealthy. And yet people will try to sell that narrative that he's not making money like that he need a payday, this dude's the face of boxing already, and they still doing it. They still trying that shit. Let's keep it real. Sorry, for some reason, YouTube have switched to our app. Shakur Hands, side. Exactly right. Oh, word? I didn't even know that. What's good with YouTube, man? So that's why I'm seeing all these names. I'm like, who the fuck is this? Probably already know some of y'all. And YouTube playing games. But, my peoples, we got some action on Saturday. And we got some real good fights coming up. Remember what I said before? This Saturday, I'm going to be calling all the fights. Well, not all of them, but the 4 big fights. I'm going to be calling all of them, and I gave him my prediction. Bam Rodriguez is going to beat Puma Hernandez. Abdullah Mason is going to beat Sam Noakes. Devin Haney is going to beat Brian Norman Jr. And David Benavidez is going to beat Anthony Yard. Those are my 4 winners for Saturday. Jay Stradamus, don't miss. I know a lot of people got Brian Norman Jr. knocking out Devin Haney. I know there's some people out there saying Sam Noakes is going to pull off the upset. You should have been listening to me. That's all I'm going to say. And my peoples, on Sunday morning, don't miss that episode of Boxing for Breakfast. Because I want to see all the people that saying Brian Norman Jr. is going to knock Devin Haney out, either make him look easy. We got to talk about it on Sunday. I want to see what type of energy you feeling. In fact, Sunday morning's episode of Boxing for Breakfast is going to kick off at 8 in the morning. I'm going to start it off a little bit later just to give some of you the opportunity to sleep it off. I know some of you are going to need more sleep than the usual. You're going to need, in the morning, you're going to wake up feeling a little bit down. Depression might be kicking in. Come through. Come through for that episode of Boxing for Breakfast. We're going to uplift you. Of course, first, we're going to let you know you done fucked up. But we're going to uplift you afterwards. After we make you feel like shit. Side, I got all them picks too. Come on, bro. We out here picking winners. We out here picking winners. Shot cool hands. You picked and Billy. We got a draw. Let's go, Jay. I mean, damn. But you know what? And Billy, bro, I believe in him. I believe in him. The guy, that power that he got, man, and the way that he fights, that rematch is going to be good. Driz, your picks have been solid recently. Hold on, recently? Damn, why you got to do me like that, bro? Recently, my picks been on solid historically. Now, I will say, there's nobody in history that's going to get everyone right. Nobody. But if you look at every 10, if you take my picks and you divide them in 10 sets of 10 picks, 10, I guarantee you, if I pick 10, 9 went through. Maybe all 10 of them. Then I picked 10 more, 9 or 10 went through. And I've never been on a streak where they lost. I've never been on a streak like that, ever. Corey B, 7 a.m. on the East Coast. Woo, nice and early. Enjoy your breakfast. If you're in New York, in Philly, anywhere on the East Coast, enjoy your breakfast or enjoy your ride to work. Salute to everybody, y'all. Driz, facts. You made me a bag when you said Ben. I made a few people a bag. A few people. Because, look, somebody hit me up and told me, Jay, I'm trying to make this bet, man. How you really feeling about this? And I told him, yo, Conor Ben is going to do it. And I didn't just, because that's the thing about me. When I give you a pick, I don't just pick. And I never pick somebody based on who I like or who I don't like. Ever, ever. I pick based on what I see inside the ring. And when I told him why I feel like Conor Ben was gonna win, he put it up on Conor. And walk out of there with a nice little bag. So, I don't just, let me give you an example. Devin Haney and Brian Norman Jr., right? You know that I got Devin Haney winning this fight, right? But guess what? If you look back, you'll find out that Brian Norman Sr. has been on my platform. He's been on with me here, talking boxing. When Boost was still at 147, Norman Sr. came on here and talked to me about how they want to fight Boost. They want that smoke. I spoke to him privately multiple times. So if I could tell you who personally I like more out of Bill Haney and Brian Norman Sr., I'm going with Brian Norman Sr. That's my guy. Show me love. Right? So if I was making an emotional pick, I'm rocking with him and Brian Norman Jr. because of interactions that I had with him. But when I'm making a pick, it's never personal. I make a pick based on my assessment. And that's what tells me that Devin Haney is going to win that fight by unanimous decision. I can't pick Brian Norman Jr. I can't pick Brian Norman Jr. Man, all these fucking dogs. I can't pick Brian Norman Jr. to win this fight just because I like him and his pops. I can't do that. Because that's also going to go against my integrity. I need you guys to understand that there's never an influence on anything that I ever tell you. There is never anyone behind what I say. I stand on my 10 toes. Anything I say, my peoples, on this platform or on any platform, I stand on my 10 toes on that. And I answer for what I say. People have even asked me, yo, did this fighter send you money? Did this team send you money? Are you part of this team? Because maybe I said something favorable about a fighter. No. Whatever I say, my peoples, comes from my own analysis. No outside influence dictates what you get to see me say here. Side, I'm thinking of a 4-fight parlay on this card. David, Haney, Mason, bam. Sounds good. That's a parlay right there. That's a parlay. Now, gambling is gambling. So when you put together a parlay, you have to go in there with the understanding that it just takes one leg for it to fall through. Bam! And it can happen. Which is why yesterday I was asking, who you guys think is the most likely to be upset tomorrow? Corey B. It's easy not to like Bill Haney. I mean, look, me personally, I wouldn't say that I dislike him. It's just that I've never spoken with him. I've never been in a conversation with Bill. I don't know him as a person. But Brian Norman Sr., I spoke to him privately. He's been on my platform. So if I'm making my pick based on that, then I'm picking Brian Norman Sr. and Brian Norman to walk out of there with the W. But that, like I said, I don't make my picks based on any relationship or based on personal feelings. I make it based on an assessment. And that's what you have to do as an analyst. Sam Noakes. Driss 666. Sam Noakes. Abdullah been dropped a few times already. He's been dropped. You're right about that. But look at the fight where he was dropped multiple times in the first round, which, by the way, he stopped that opponent shortly after. And then look at the couple of fights after that. And what I will tell you, Driz, is that Abdullah Mason, his defense developed significantly since he got dropped. So don't hold it against him that he got dropped multiple fights ago, because that defense is significantly better. You barely saw him get touched up in his last couple of fights. Side, I don't even dislike Bill, but can see why people don't like him. And I can see why people don't like him, and I can understand it. He's an elite level trash talker, and he will go at you. But I said this yesterday, and I'll say it again. No matter how much you don't like Bill Haney, you have to accept that the guy has done a masterful job with promoting his son, who's a big star and a masterful job with raising his kids, taking care of business. So you may not like him as a person, but you gotta respect him as a businessman and a father. You gotta give it to him. You can't say no wrong that he's doing. Bill is a true story of redemption. This is a guy that we know. We know how Bill came up, right? We know how he got his money, right? How he was able to drive around in a Rolls Royce. We know that. And he transitioned from the lifestyle that he was living into becoming a full-time father, developing his son to becoming a world champion, taking care of his other kids, developing them so they could become successful in the future. This guy went from the streets to being a role model. Bill Haney went from a street nigga to a role model. Whether you like him or not, you gotta respect him. Gotta respect him. Dres, one thing about Bill, he knows how to sell a fight. And I said this a couple of days ago. Salute to Lori Reed and Senior Cobbs. I was on the Rice podcast a couple of days ago, and I said that about Bill. Devin Haney, he's too quiet. You almost got to force a camera and a mic in front of his face. And he's not even a good trash talker. Out there stealing Floyd Mayweather lines and shit. You need a Bill Haney who's bringing that type of energy to hype the shit up. You know why Bill Haney can hype it up and Devin Haney can't? Because Bill is really a street nigga. He really been on that street shit. He know how to talk that shit. Devin Haney, he grew up with a silver spoon in his mouth. Devin Haney don't know what it is to be in the street. He don't know what it is to be getting in trouble. Bill did an amazing job with raising his son and putting him in the right places. But he didn't develop that. Nice. He didn't develop. Oh, you ate all of it. Good job. Devin didn't develop that street mindset like his pops. Wow, you did a great job. Give me a hug. Give me a hug. I love you.
I love you.
That's a commercial. Take that commercial off. Why are you watching commercials? Side, I like Norman Sr. too. Yeah, he a cool dude. That's what I'm telling you though. I like Brian Norman Sr. And I got mad respect for him and the way that he moving and what he's done with his son. He's another father who's accomplishing with his son. Right? But I can't make my pick based on who I like. That's what I told you guys before. It's not about who I like, who I don't like. It's about making an assessment who I think is going to win. Shot cool hands. You said it to me. Bill is cap artist. He was about to get his behind beat up by Senior. He tried yesterday to trash talk, and he didn't have it at all. Hennessy, Nevada. Yes, they live next to Oscar. They're neighbors. But that's what I'm trying to tell you. That Bill Haney gave Devin Haney a good life. That's what, like, we could joke around about Devin Haney not being a street dude and not knowing how to handle himself like that, like he want to try. But at the end of the day, I don't want to raise my son to be a street dude. I don't want my son to be in the streets. I want to raise him like Bill raised Devin. I want to raise my son in a nice house. And I want to raise my son with nice things. Which I think every father should want to do that. So, with the way that Devin grew up, he just didn't develop that personality to trash talk like that. You need somebody like Bill Haney, who really a street dude, who gonna get in front of that camera and say stuff that you never gonna be able to say. Express himself the way you never gonna be able to express yourself because you never done it. Come on now. You know how it is growing up in the hood where you and your own friends will sit there snapping at each other for 2 hours straight? Growing up in the hood, yo, what? Yo, look at this dude. How you got Michael Jordans? Those shits is Michael Jasons. What the hell you wearing, bro? Look at this dude, Michael Jackson jacket. Looking like Freddie Jackson. Bro, it was a roast session. Just growing up in your own block. It's a roast session. Your haircut getting roasted. Your shoes getting roasted. Even the book bag you wearing to school getting roasted. That's the type of environment Bill grew up in. Most of us grew up in. Devin Haney ain't grow up on that shit. Devin Haney was almost ready to cry when Ryan Garcia was snapping on him. Shakur Hands, NYC Elite Roasting. Bro, listen. NYC was at the top of the roast food chain. The funny thing is that the shit that was normal to us back then, that shit is bullying today. You can't do that shit today. That's bullying today. That's frowned upon. We was out there talking about, nigga, look like an egg. What you talking? Look at your moms looking like an egg. What are you talking about? Like, yo, this shit was crazy. It was crazy out there, my peoples, for real. Danielle Negron. If my baby mama was calling Future in prison, I'd be knocking dudes in the ring. Bro. But, look, Devin Haney is like I told you. He didn't grow up in that lifestyle. So, basically, he was a sucker. That should never have been his baby moms. That should never even have been his baby moms. He shouldn't have even dealt with that girl. He should have known this girl's just looking for the bag. But he not a street nigga. A woman like that see him like a sucker. A woman like that see him like a target. Like, yeah. Bag with right here. This little dude right here don't know nothing about what's really going on. And she got the bag off him. Got a kid. Now you getting a check from Devin for the next 18 years. But that's what happened. Shakur Hands, yeah, he was simping. Why? Because he was a guy, young kid with a lot of money, and now you got this model type chick all over you. Yo, I was even telling people like, bro, why Bill Haney even allowing this shit? Why Bill Haney not letting him know, bro, she only using you for your money. She gonna be out of here. Once she secure that bag, she out of here. But then I thought to myself, you know what? Maybe Bill did try to tell him, and he wasn't trying to hear it. And then you got to let it go at that point. You got to let him learn with experience. Got to let him learn. Because, look, I got a son, but my son is only 4 years old. When he get older, if I see him with a chick that is not good for him, in my opinion, I'm going to tell him. But if he want to stay with her, there ain't really shit I can do about it. I'll be like, all right. When she shit on you, I'm going to just say I told you so. Enjoy the show for now. Wave David, whoa. You don't do YouTube more. I don't know what you mean by that. You don't do YouTube more. What do you mean by that? More shows, more hours, more time? I don't know what that means. But there you have it, my peoples. I gave you my 4 predictions for these 4 fights. It's going to be real good ones. Side facts. People are too sensitive nowadays. My God, these days, you might say something that have people reporting your channel. I have people reporting my channel when I was saying that that Terrence Crawford pummeled Canelo and now he's the face of boxing. That shit had people reporting my channel. Imagine when I have to look at somebody in the face and tell them, you don't know shit about boxing. You need somebody to tell you that. Stop acting like you do. You don't. They get sensitive and start reporting shit. But, like I told y'all, when we start doing the show on Box Center 2.0, and people going to be able to call into that hotline number, we're going to be cursing each other out. We're really going to be going at it. Now I'm going to really give them a reason to report me. Shaku hands, yeah, you got that. No DST. He won at 5:30 a.m. Danny on the ground, facts. It's all we do. Wait till we start the show, that nighttime show. It's a morning show. This is more family friendly. This is family friendly compared to what you're gonna see on Box Center 2.0. How many subs on Box Center 2.0? Right now we're at 45. Let me see. Let's see, my peoples. If I'm not mistaken, Box Center 2.0. Yes, sir. There you have it. Box Center 2.0 right now has 45 subscriptions. Only waiting to get to 20 so that to 50 so that we can go live and start the new show. Start that new show. 5 more subscribers, my peoples, and we're kicking off a new show. And I'm telling you, it is going to be epic. Epic is not an exaggeration when I tell you that. My peoples, I want to give a shout out to everybody who tuned in to this morning's episode of Boxing for Breakfast. Wave David, you don't do Boxing for Breakfast. My guy, this is literally Boxing for Breakfast. This is it right here. I think you're a little bit lost, my brother, because Boxing for Breakfast is on Mondays through Fridays. Literally, check the channel, go to the live, and you see that the show has been going down every single day. Wave, okay. I don't understand. How do you come up with this? You don't do it anymore. If I'm doing it every day. There goes the predictions, my peoples. There goes my predictions, my 4 picks, like I said. Bam, Abdullah, Devin, and Benavidez. Come on now. Come on now. Those are my 4 picks. Right there. So again, salute to everybody who tuned in this morning. Appreciate you guys. Tonight, I may go live again if there's some breaking news. This whole situation about Subriel Matias, that was the main topic of conversation of today. That is messed up. I want to see how this whole situation is going to play out. Is Subriel Matias really cheating? Was it a mistake with the test? Are we going to find out about the B sample? So we don't know all the facts yet. Let's see. I don't think Dalton Smith is going to fight Subriel Matias because of this positive test. Let's see. Let's see what's next. Y'all already know what it is, my peoples. I'm Jay Smith. This is Boxing for Breakfast. I'm out of here, y'all. Enjoy your Friday. Bam.